like, well, you know, like, are you the visual artist? Are you the writer? He said, I'm an artist. And it was such a definitive way that you said it, like, I'm an artist, period. And that's exactly. So I want you to, like, to share with me, like, what you feel that defines an artist.
Okay, well, that's a loaded question.
140 characters or less.
Well,
yes.
no. Before you answer that, I'll just, so Herbie Hancock, right, shares that creativity, amazing jazz musician, shares that creativity is something that all of us have within us. It's something that anyone can tap into.
Right.
However, society, you know, there's this idea of an artiste, and whether they're a hip artiste, you know, or not, it can feel like an exclusive club that belongs to only a few.
Yeah.
And so when I said, okay, you're a writer, and I'm like, okay, are you the visual artist? You're like, no, I'm an artist. So what did you mean by that? Like, why that? You know, why did you define yourself as an artist?
I feel that there's a beautiful sense of synchronicity and pretty much like the things are going way back around from the first feature and the stuff that Taino Briggs was discussing earlier. Somehow I feel that what he was saying resonates within the answer in your question. For example, have you noticed that there's no music or, you know, arts in regular public schools, you know what I mean? Or if it is, it's really put down, you know? So that whole, you know, putting your pinky up and like having this little, you know, one of these like artiste, that's a myth, and it's a very dangerous myth. And I feel that an artist is a human being with his antennas up, his or her antennas up, you know? It's a person that expresses themselves, that etches deep into the caverns of their feelings and hearts, and all they do is put that little gem out, you know? Just express them out, express them, you know, because we need to. This, to me, art is nothing but the purest form of communication and dialogue between one another. So it's a necessary thing. It's not a necessary evil. How about a necessary heaven, you know? And when I said to you, I'm an artist, I'm not putting myself up and I'm not putting myself down either. I'm putting myself right on ground's feet, you know, ground level. And
what's ground levels for you?
Ground level is this, right here. This is ground level.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I'm not trying to be patronizing or anything like that. We feel this way. You're clapping because it's true, you know, because this is ground level. And I think it's important for our feet to be grounded in not just on earth, but being rooted deep down into the core of the earth. And at the same time, have your mind and your hands raised up and growing feathers and wings and taking flight. We have to have these two bipolars. And when I say I'm an artist, I'm not saying up or down. I'm saying it is what it is. And you have music, you have paintings, you have the spoken word. These are all within your arsenal. And each and every one of them, the only difference is the medium. That's it. Everything else is the purest form of communication and dialogue between one another. Everything else is just talk, and talk is cheap.
You're saying something about danger. You're saying like having your pinky out is a dangerous thing.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by that? What's the danger in that?
The danger in that is that what you just said within the question, you know, that it feels like an exclusive club that nobody is privy to. And it's dangerous because just like certain information is not being fed in public venues, like a public school, for an example, information that it's needed, right? But at the same time, they're also perpetuating a certain myth that says, oh, you must have this crazy innate talent to be an artist, and if you don't have this innate talent, then you should shut the hell up. And that's very dangerous because it puts people in a place where it's just pure decadence and deprivation of all the resources that we need for society to sustain itself.
Has anyone ever told you to shut the hell up? In terms of art, like, I don't like what you have to say. I don't like what you're writing.
You know how many demons I have inside me that's saying to me, shut the hell up, and I have to fight them?
Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Wow.
Insecurities, doubt, that funny moment, that extra glare, that it could be anything at any given time. And you gotta man up with you gotta have scales for skin, you know? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And the beauty about it, you know what's the beauty? The beauty about it is that it's like there's invincible terrors waiting for it's really you. You're the one that's picking it. It's like a black flower, you know, of like nasty experiences that you actually pick, because they're not the ones putting it out there. They're just being people, and you're the one picking it, you know? But at the same time, there's this invisible craziness that is in the realm of the imagination, is in the realm of heart, that every single one of us that I've seen, I know there's a couple of new faces that I've, for the most part, I'm seeing, but I know you guys, and I've heard some of your works. For some of you, I heard lots of your works, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I don't know what else to say.
No, that's pause on that. I think everyone agrees with what you have to say.
Just walk off stage, Rammer.
So,
Drops broken mic.
Drops broken mic.
Oh.
Please donate to
Oh, that's a
Areito.
lovely question, because
What was the question?
it's about my name. My name is not a poet name or a rapper name, even though that's cool.
Dominican
Okay,
name.
it's cool. It's very Dominican.
Dominican name.
Yes, it's very Dominican, but not in the superficial facet of it, but in the development of it. Once you know how it was created, it's so Dominican, it's not even funny. So
Or
Dominicans,
really funny.
what they like to do is mix names and have like artistic liberties for mixing anything. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be names. It could be the last name. It could be the grandma. It could be that ex-man of yours that you just want to like stick it to him, you know? And it just happens to be a mixture of my parents' names. Ram for Ramon and Mer for Mercedes. Ram Mer.
Okay, now pick up the broken mic and drop it.
Buzz how?
Sure.
I'm over here trying to like, alright,
Pero ¿cómo vas?
I'm going on stage, I'm trying to be a poet over here, let me come up with a poet name. Nah, Rammer's still there. Rammer's always sticking up, man. It's like, damn, I can't escape this name, man. This name has a life of its own.
It sticks though, it sticks.
Damn. I have to work with that, I guess.
There's so at El Museum del Barrio,
Mm-hmm.
there is a wonderful exhibit that they have up about an amazing poet, Mr. Pedro Pinchi, and he has this piece called Neuroweekends. Pedro. He has a piece called Neuroweekends Out of Focus. It's going to be a little bit of it. Congratulations, you've been out of focus for 100 years. Doesn't that make you feel good about your out of focus self? To not be figured out and left alone to concentrate on how to keep yourself off the endangered species list on the menu of American history from the out of focus view of your living room window where the overcast is always present. To remind you that you forgot to pack the sun into your suitcase when you migrated to the other side of the mirror of your inception to stare at yourself with the eyes closed to the outside world inside of your own personal opinion. How long ago the universe became undecided about the law of gravity, only violated lately by the experimental Latin Manhattan accents at night school renegades who educate themselves in their own authentic spiritual history of being on different islands while having a cup of non-American coffee early in the morning, in Cuban restaurants and Hell's Kitchen, on manic Norwegian mental dishwashers who want to be free after working hours only because the rent has to be paid and the car needs a new transmission.
Reverendo Pedro Pietri.
Thank you. Thank you. So, in your get out of focus, do you feel like we're out of focus in life? Or do you feel like we can, if you had to be like Dominicans out of focus, what would that be?
you know?
Or you feel like they are in focus?
Oh, there's so many different levels. Yo, Dominicans are everywhere. We permeate, and there's a very biological reason for that. We love love. So there's that one aspect. We're permeating. So in a sense, we're kind of like in a spotlight, but not really like a spotlight. More like, there's these guys here in Japan. There's these guys here in France. Dominicans. Who? You're Dominican? What is that? You're from the Dominique, the island of Dominique. You know, it's like, so, yeah, that's one aspect of that focus that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a feeling that you're also implying a different kind.
To you? You know,
Right.
how you want to interpret it. So to speak.
It's individualistic in the basis levels, on the individual basis. If you live a selfish life, then you live in an island, and you might be out of focus because of that. You're not relevant. You're only relevant to something so typical, which is your selfishness. But another individual might take it upon themselves to express themselves, to put themselves outward as opposed to inward. And I feel that when that happens, then those people become unfocused, within focus, you know. And it doesn't matter what country. I don't like to put, like a categorization on on nations or geographies or hey, we're all our cultures are the same and we have beautiful colors, but there's a lot of beautiful cultures out there that have beautiful colors, you know. So it's an individual basis, I think.
So, you have worked with nonfiction, your art. So you did art for nonfiction books. Has that been an interesting bridge? Because nonfiction is looked at as being very serious art, like nonfiction. Like, people kind of put down fiction work, even though there's amazing writers, like I mentioned at the last features, or Neil Hurston, or you have beautiful pieces of work by Toni Morrison, amazing stuff by Alice Walker, all fiction pieces. But however, there is this like understanding of nonfiction. That's like the seriousness, you know, you write nonfiction, but you're adding your art to it. Have you found that an easy place to bridge?
I mean,
Or have you found any difficulties with that?
no, because you know, usually when you first start training and drawing, and you basically draw what you see. You know, you have something and you draw it. Some people, they begin with tracing it, and that's okay too. You know, you're in this world right here that's visual. Your eyes is the primary sense. You know, I mean, I like to think that the brain is the primary sense, but let's go with the basics. Yeah, the eyes gives you the most information, and you're always there. So to me, drawing, there's no stress in depicting reality. Photorealism is one thing, but you could depict reality without having to be photorealistic.
Can you explain that with reality, how that would look? Like,
I don't know. That's up to the artist. I'm
So
just
that's-
one of them.
so you're just painting so you're saying that you're painting your reality?
I'm painting what I feel, and this is what I was talking about when it comes to like the most perfect dialogue or form of communication. I, as the artist, I'm depicting with my line work what I think is in another person's brain, and allowing that, just like I think you know the words I'm saying when it's coming out of my mouth, but that's not assured. It's only assured when you start speaking to me and be like, oh, okay, we know English, you know? It's the same thing, but with the visual line work, you know? You're trying to communicate, you know? You're communicating reality, and that's not necessarily have to be literal. It could just be that artist's expression of why is that reality? Why are you putting those details in that particular fashion? Oh, because you know what? For that thing, whether it's concrete or whatever, or porcelain, I need to have that, you know? And I'm sure right now, if I say porcelain, you think strokes. Like, imagine you were drawing it in your mind's eye. And if I told you, now draw concrete in your mind's eye, the strokes are going to be different. That's it right there.
How do you choose? Thank you for sharing that for all of us to have a glimpse into your mind.
Thanks.
Um,
You're welcome.
do you have an idea, like, okay, this translates better in writing? or this like I'm taking a film class right now, so I'm learning visuals in a different way. So as a writer, like, you know, I'm writing and like I want people to feel a certain way, so I know there's certain words that invoke certain emotions,
Right.
and that's the word I'm gonna choose.
Ooh,
How do you
I love
feel
it.
about? Well, thanks. How do you feel about that in terms of visual stuff? You
But
know,
see, that's the thing though. We're going back to the first question.
this artist. Right?
Yeah, and you just did what I do, but with words.
Okay.
You know what's funny? Words is a drawing, man. Have we forgotten that? You know, like each character comes from a drawing back a couple of thousand years, you know? The crescent of the moon is the sea. The waves of water is the M. That's why everything that begins with an M has to do with the sea. Marina, mermaid, you know, Mario. The dude that used to be a sailor.
All right,
You know,
well,
so like when you write, that's you're doing with your mind, with words, what I'm trying to do with things. So I have a feeling that it's simpler than you think. You know.
well, what's not simple is your amazing talent, and I'm gonna lend the stage to you now.
Thank you.
Thank you